want to welcome everyone to our Moovs webinar here on August 23rd. As always, our agenda will be to spend time with operators who have made the time to come join us live here on our recorded session. And what we'll do is we'll answer any questions, brainstorm, go through workflows, Moovs related, transportation related, whatever your heart's desire. And at the end of the call, we will spend the last 10 to 15 minutes going through the new Moovs updates, what's coming soon, and our roadmap. So thanks again for being here. Jay, I know you kicked us off. Any other topics outside, Jay, that you want to bring up, or we can start opening it up to discussion?
I'll leave it to you, Amir. Let's open it up to discussion.
Perfect. Thanks, Jay.
I'll go ahead and mute here.
Cool. Yeah, if there's anyone that would like to ask a question, make a comment, we have all types of users that join our webinars and watch our webinars. Sometimes it's users who've never heard of Moovs, all the way to our earliest of customers like Jay and Joe and some of the others that are on the call. So we welcome all types of discussion. So if anyone wants to open it up after Jay, feel free to unmute yourself. And
well, Amir, I just wanted to say that I've been with the company just a little less than a month, and everything seems to be going very well. And when I bring up suggestions, you guys are open to hear them and tell me what you think. And it's been a positive experience so far.
Thanks, Dwight. I appreciate that. Well, maybe you can introduce yourself, your company, to the rest of the team.
Okay. My name is Dwight Thompson. I own Thompson Black Car, and we're out of Oklahoma City.
Awesome. So if anyone needs any rides in Oklahoma for farming out, you know who to contact. Yeah, Dwight, thanks for sharing.
Good to meet you, Dwight. I'm in Dallas, Texas, Frisco, not too far from you.
Well, I'm in Dallas right now.
There you go.
What are you doing here?
I hope you have a four-wheel drive high rise.
I'm in this Sprinter van today. I brought the ladies down for shopping and a Lady Gaga concert.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Amir, one of the new updates on the hourly, I thought maybe if we could, I like it, but I was thinking if we could just do a drag down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, and then that automatically populate on the drop off time, So if it was a 6 p.m. and they wanted to go, 4 hours, then when you pick 4, it automatically puts 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good feed. Yeah, that's great. What I'll do is I'll share my screen for those who can see that feature. So yeah, we recently released a new feature here in Moovs for creating trips and reservations, quotes and reservations, where you can now select between the trip type of hourly or one-way. And so we make it a bit easier to create hourlies now, given that you have this trip type selector. And so what you can do is when you select your pickup date and time, you can then add a drop-off date and time. And Joe's feedback is we could have something that just is easier to just declare like the hours versus having to, of course, like if it's an 8-hour job, then we got to sit here and get this to say 8:10. So yeah, I like that, Joe. We'll take a note of that.
Hey, Amir.
Yeah, Jay.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. The selector that for the hourly, if it was to be like the selector in the Moovs driver application, to where it's a roller rather than that analog, it would help in the sense that what do I try to say here? That when you're trying to select the time, punching that clock on a mobile app, it doesn't always. I mean, I'm hitting it 3 or 5 or 6 times trying to get the exact time. If it was at a roller, it would be a lot of help, big help.
That's a good point. So even for mobile, you're saying just an easier way to add the duration for an hourly, right?
Well, not only that, but selecting the time exactly. I mean,
Yep.
that roller helps a bunch rather than trying to, yeah.
Yep.
That is not the best thing in the world.
Yep. Got it. Yeah. And we are on, we haven't scheduled it yet, but part of one of our initiatives for the future is to redo this whole time picker, we call it, to make it a bit easier.
Yeah, if it's not that, at least let us to type in the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Thanks, Jay.
Also, I'm kind of good on the one-way and hourly. Hopefully, when the dynamic pricing comes out, so that we could select, the event, I guess you could say, like concert or whatever, that the system would algorithm would automatically, detect that it requires a 3-hour minimum or something like that. The reason why I'm saying that is I had a request. It was like a concert, but they only wanted a 2-way transfer, and typically we do hourly, but it was a slow day. I didn't mind doing it, but it was doing it for like almost like an airport rate.
Mm-hmm.
So, instead of like a 3-hour minimum. I mean, I wouldn't mind doing it for a 3-hour minimum and then doing a split. I know that sounds kind of weird, and hard to do, but I guess we could have put in the notes, return back at a certain time or something. But I just, once again, I had to discuss that with the customer and close the deal. But, they were not happy with the increase, but I mean, they ultimately went with it, but they're like, well, your thing says this. And I said, I completely understand. So.
Yep. Yep. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Any continue moving? Anyone else specific Moovs related questions? Anything in the product?
Well, obviously I did put you in the chat thing, redaction of information after the run's completed. I think because a lot of that stuff stays in the system, in other people's system. They can, if it's farm in, farm out, they can go back and still see all that information.
Yep, exactly. Yep, and we're addressing that to redact that customer information from the drivers and from farming out at after a trip is done.
Hey, Amir.
Awesome. Yes.
Hey, yes. Hey, how are you? My name is Farhan. I just joined Moovs. So I love it so far, honestly. It's been
Thanks.
great switching over. It's so easy. I love how the portal runs, easy to book. And it just comes right to my email, which is awesome. A couple suggestions. I think we've talked about a couple of them. I just had I don't know if it would relate to all the other ones that are on the chat right now, but like multi-day, like couple, if somebody wants to book like couple days, trips, we got the one-way hourly round trip. Obviously, if you're doing like charter buses or something like that, like multi-day trips. I've noticed that's kind of hard to do, you know. And then my other one was I had another one. I can't think of it right now. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
So like, multi-day trips would be, you know, helpful.
Have you, one of the things we do have, and again, thanks for sharing. I know we've had some discussions already. We're definitely excited to have you. If you want to just quickly also introduce yourself to the rest of the team, your location and everything before I jump in here.
No, you're good. My name is Farhan Kokar. I'm actually out of Cincinnati, Ohio. I own Cincinnati Charter Bus. So we do charter bus services all the way down to airport transportation. So
awesome.
Yeah. Hey, the other one was actually doing. Gosh, I keep forgetting. Sorry, I'll bring it up again in a second.
Okay. Yeah, just feel free to interrupt. I really don't mind. So once it comes to mind. So
what I was the vehicle, actually, I'm sorry. So if somebody, like, say for example, if somebody wants like 2 vans, for example, like 2 Sprinter vans, I noticed that it's hard to do for them to add like 2 or 3 vehicles, you know, one booking. So sometimes I get requests for like, you know, 2 or 3 vans or like a van or like a SUV or something. But I feel like they have to do like each individual, you know, bookings. So I'm not sure if that's possible in the Moovs app or not in the future.
Yep. So that one I'll address first. We are starting to get that request a bit more now. So, you know, it's good to see like the traction there with our current customers. The idea is that, through the quoting and reservation process, the general idea would be you can eventually have multiple vehicles to one trip. So like the way that we structure Moves today based on our reservations and our trips is really around a reservation, and then that has multiple trips, and then each trip can only have one vehicle and one driver. Coming, I would say by early next year would be an estimated timeline, is we're going to add a functionality where you can have like multiple vehicles to each trip. So then like if you were to update a trip, it would apply to both vehicles. So that way you don't have to worry about right now, for example, in most, if not all softwares, you have to really just have a trip per vehicle. And in some softwares, it's even reservation. There's no trips. You have to just have one reservation to one vehicle. So, you know, and then kind of to piggyback off that, Farhan, what you can do in Moves today is actually build those multi-day trips, as I would consider them in Moves, for your charters based on each trip. So like in this case, let's say, you know, turning this one into an hourly, for example, making this, you know, charter August 26th, let's say until 11:20 p.m., right? So now, for example, this becomes a full day trip on the 26th, and then you can duplicate this trip, right? And then even change the date. So let's say the 27th, right? And then let's say, assuming everything stays the same on 27th, we can save this trip, right? And then we can continue to build trips here each day. Okay. And so we do this, you know, like I've built trips like this up to 100. So like we have some customers that work with corporate contacts in terms of like airport transfers. So to make it really easy, we build like 100 transfers in one reservation. So then it's easy to bill, it's easy to manage. And then they'll use each trip as a specific day to then designate the different trips that they're doing. So, but yeah, so the multi vehicles coming soon. And then today I would recommend just each, like that's one of the main differentiators of Moves and many other softwares, is this flexibility that we give you to create all these different trips under one, we call it reservation number, which is this CZ74.
Yeah, so technically he could duplicate that reservation for a bus. And if they wanted a Sprinter, he could duplicate it, pick a Sprinter, and change the times for only 4 or 5 hours, or an airport or whatever. And then he can make another one for another Sprinter. And so he could have, and you can put it all in the same day.
Exactly. If you like if for multiple vehicles, obviously you just could then like duplicate this one and then change the vehicle, right? And then now you can start building all your different trips for these larger events. But what I would highly recommend, and everyone here, as everyone here has experienced already and will always continue, reach out to us on Moovs chat. And, you know, whenever you're like facing an issue, like it doesn't have to be really Moovs related, but like I had someone yesterday reach out like, hey, Amir, I just secured a contract with an airport in, I forget what city, and we have 3 months of reservations that we need to input into Moovs. And he's like, what's the best way of doing this? And I was like, well, let me look into our import feature, because we have an import feature that we work with for our new customers. So a lot of our new customers who are coming on board want to import their reservations into Moovs. So maybe we could utilize an import feature to then be able to save some time in creating these, 350 trips or reservations inside the software. In other cases, it's, hey, we want to set up corporate shuttling. How do we do corporate shuttling, reservation management? So whenever it becomes a little bit more like, to your point, Farhan, like multi-day charter trips, we can like discuss what are the implications, because there's always implications with reservations, trips, multiple trips, billing, corporate contact expectations. So we just want to make sure that we all provide the best experience to those customers. Great questions, Farhan. Thank you.
Thank you for answering.
All right. Yep, you're welcome. All right, opening it back up. Still got some time left before we jump into the fun updates that we're working on. Nothing in the chat. Anything else on your end, Farhan? It seems like
No, not really. I think one of the other things I think we mentioned, we talked about was the description of the vehicles.
Yeah.
I didn't know, what was a plan on that? Like when you put in all your information and go next.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, being able to add
vehicles.
Yep, being able to add this description to the booking widget. Yeah, that's something we've taken note of. I think it's a valid request that the team is considering in terms of deployment. So yeah, thanks for sharing. All right, we can always get
Hey, Amir.
Yes, go for it, Jose.
Hey, it's Jose. Are you guys working on a feature to where reservations would sync up to let's say like a Google Calendar or an iCalendar? I feel like that's one thing that I'm missing. That's kind of huge, at least for me.
Yep.
I feel like I'm constantly having to get into this app and exit out of quotes and then get into dispatch and then click on this, click on that, as opposed to just glancing at my calendar. You know what I mean?
Yep. Got it. So yes, we've gotten that request quite a bit, Jose. We're always, before we decide to build something, I think it's understanding like the right expectations of what we build. And I think in terms of the calendar, the Google Calendar specifically integration, the one thing I'm always curious about, so I'm kind of opening this up for discussion now, is really it's easy to create the calendar event, but it's harder for the product to maintain the calendar event. So I'd be curious on your end, like, what if someone cancels, updates the pickup date, updates the pickup time? Like, what would be some of those expectations around the integration there?
Well, I don't know. I feel like it would probably be best, I don't know, to like update it manually. I mean, obviously automated would be fine, right? Would be great.
Yep.
But I mean, if it's difficult to do, or maybe not even possible to do, I mean, as long as it's on the calendar, and then you can always just update it, right?
Yeah, but Jose,
just like we do everything else.
yeah, Jose, though, when you use iCalendar with Google, you cannot delete that. It stays there for eternity. So, like for like Limo Anywhere, when Limo Anywhere uses it, but I mean, yeah, it's nice. It gives you you know, you can see it on your calendar, but the problem is if that run cancels, it stays on the calendar.
I've never experienced that, but
yeah, so yeah, that's the way it works with iCalendar.
So you can't delete it. Is that what you're saying?
You
like
cannot
it's on
delete
your
it.
calendar, even if the event itself is deleted from the calendar itself.
It won't let
you go into. Really?
That's correct.
Huh. Well,
because it's produced by. There's a Amir knows it better than, but it's the way that they set it up. It's produced like that, and so it's just best. Now, what you could ask Amir, and I can ask Amir, is if we could get a daily or somehow set up a daily email showing our particular reservations for the day. That would be nice, where you could set it up to update you, like, every 4 hours, every 5 hours, or whatever, for your day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
With something more like a snapshot of it, as opposed to the entire, I don't know, like a visual of the reservation itself when we see it on the dispatch. So like the calendar view, for me, I feel that it's kind of, I don't know, useless, because I look at it and it doesn't give you all the information that I would need.
Mm-hmm.
So they want like a manifest, I would assume, like a manifest of the trips for every day. That's what they might be talking about. Just like a
like let's say that you were to click on one of those trips there. It doesn't give you all the information, just tells you like the time and date or whatever.
Yeah, like extraction of the trip. I would say, like, pick up, drop off, time, location, maybe the passenger name, phone. That's probably the main things, on the manifest.
So like, yeah, and I'm just, because I think, but I want to solve, Jose. I want to think like, to solve it, what would be ideal, right? Because I guess, like, I like what you're saying about Google Cal or iCal and all that, but why that when, let's say, if you could build like anything you wanted to, like, is there a reason that Google Cal and iCal integration is important to you? Is there something that they do that we can't do, or why not just build the equivalent of what that does for you here in Moovs?
But he didn't say Google, he just said any calendar. So I mean, it could be
or any calendar. Yeah.
Well, I like it because it's, I have an iPhone and I can quickly glance at my next thing, right? As opposed to having to go into the Moovs app and, because how it starts you off with quotes, and you got to click out of quotes and you can go deep into whatever you're trying to look at. I feel like it's too many clicks as opposed to just being at glance. You know what I mean?
Got it.
Amir, teach him the quick.
Joe.
Somebody teach me. I've only been on for a couple of months.
Yeah, Joe just pitched me a fastball down the middle.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, what phone do you have, Jose?
I have an iPhone.
Awesome. So I'm going to show you my favorite trick that I have a YouTube video on as well. So I'm going to share all the resources here so that we can make sure everyone here uses this feature. So Moovs software. Here it is. And then search for what was it? I forgot what I called it. Let's see. How to use iOS shortcuts to create a Moovs mobile app.
Oh,
this is one of
that I've already done. I mean, that was easy.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, that was it. But I mean, I guess, like, yeah, of course, you click on that and then it starts you off with quotes, right? Then you got to, go into dispatch and start clicking into each individual trips, as opposed to looking at what's actually just coming next at a glance at my calendar. But yeah, I mean, obviously, that's great. You were showing, and maybe you should show the folks. That
Jose, but you got to you could do a one specifically for each. So you're doing. You could make one for dispatch, so it would automatically pop on dispatch. Or you can do one specifically for what is it, Amir?
Trip view.
Trip
You
view.
can
Yeah.
do the, yeah.
I see what you mean.
Yeah. So I think what you're doing,
well, you know, I did,
exactly.
I think I tried to do that one time, and then it continued on with Moose. So maybe I did something wrong. Maybe it continued on with the quotes app, with the quotes page rather. I'll give it a shot one more time.
Try.
That sounds great.
Yeah, let's see if we can. So like, here's this. Let me see. So is there, because like this page, for example, you can come specifically to the calendar. Looks like you can also come to, right? So it's like all by links. So these links can be saved in the iOS shortcut and then opened to be accessed through your iOS phone. I'd be super happy to spend time one-on-one to get this to work for you, Jose, because it obviously is a pain point that I know sucks. That's why we built this YouTube video. It's like one of our most highest viewed videos. And we build links like this so that we can enable that type of like usability. Like if you always just want to open up one certain page of Moovs, you can create shortcuts for everything in Moovs because everything's a link. So
that's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I hadn't seen that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's great because it really was a pain point because every single time I clicked on Moves, I always started off with quotes, and I don't even give quotes. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like I don't do a lot of retail work. All my clients are all just like I've had the same old clients for the last 10 years. You know, so
exactly. So what we can do together, and I'm happy to do this, is just reach out here on Chat with Moves, and then we could get it set up. I promise you, in less than 10 minutes. Like 10 minutes of your time is all we need, and then we can get it all set up.
I could help him, Amir, but I think he's a smart guy. He can figure it out.
I don't need your help, Joe.
But you sure did yesterday.
I need it today too. Hit me up later.
Awesome. So yeah, keep me updated. Thanks, Jose, for bringing that up. And of course, one day, it's not that it's out of the question, but you know, we always try to kind of like push ourselves to think like, is there something specific about the calendar integrations that we really need? Or are there other ways to achieve solving the problem that you have? So thanks for sharing. Thanks for opening up. Anything else, Jose, as we continue to move on?
You know, I always have something, but truth be told, I don't always remember when it comes to these things, but there's always some sort of pain point somewhere. If I remember, I'll say hello again.
Cool. Thanks, Jose.
Cool. I'll unmute.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, we got a few more minutes for some questions for the live team that's here before we jump on to some of the updates.
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
Good afternoon. My name is Bakanja. I'm a new operator owner, and I switched to Moves as well from Limo Anywhere. I love Moves, and I have a question or request. Every time I'm trying to make a booking and somebody else is doing it on behalf of the executive at the company, I'm hoping if there could be an additional email that could be sent to the person who's booking it.
Wow. Someone must have paid you to ask that question, because as part of our features that are coming out, to answer your question, we'll kind of jump ahead now. It's even right here. As part of our features that are coming out, we're rebuilding our email functionality. So I'll just go ahead and show everybody that right now. So today, when you click send email in Moves, it works in a very basic way. It just sends an email to the booking contact down here, right? So what we're adding as new functionality in the coming weeks is going to be a way to now send to multiple emails. So what you'll see here is after you click send email here in my designs, you're going to get this new pop-up. In this pop-up, you're going to be able to do some neat things. And this is super important for operators. It's been requested a lot. You're going to be able to choose between the reservation email and the price summary email. based on which email you want to send. You're going to be able to send it to anyone and then CC as many contacts as you need. So this way you can send it to whatever the limit is on how many CCs you can have. And then I think the most exciting feature is our step in the right direction of customized messages. So here you'll be able to even add your own custom message that'll show up in the email. So if you here want to just write like, thank you for your service, or pleasure servicing you, or just even like, hi, whatever you want to write, you'll be able to write in this custom message area. And we're going to take that and put it into the email on either the reservation and or the price summary email.
That is phenomenal. Thank you for adding that. I've been wanting that for a little while now.
Yes, and so this is, as you can see, the designs are almost done. Product development on this, I believe, starts next week. So you should see this in the software release email sometime by the second week of September.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Great question. It was exactly what I was going to touch on here at the end. So here's some like examples of the screens.
Hey, Amir.
Yeah.
It's Jay.
It's okay.
For the newcomers and for some of us that have been here a while and have not got caught up on all of these new functions, and or those of us who are new to the industry, will you guys be offering one-on-one instruction as far as answering questions to or configuration to our specific operations?
Yeah, of course, Jay. I think I would say at any time we have our wonderful customer success managers, so Noel and Matt, who can always schedule time and work alongside to tailor any software workflows that are specific to you in terms of how you're thinking about things.
Okay, cool. So Noel is back.
Yeah, Noel's been back, and Matt as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Great question,
Thank
Jay. Yep. I'll address the question in the chat. So this is Jose. It's actually kind of, again, interesting that you just asked this question, because we've gotten feedback. And so this is part of the evolution of the driver app. So I'm going to open up the driver app real quick. So for everyone to see here on the right, a new feature that's coming out very soon for the driver app is this indicator at the top. And the reason we built it this way at first is a lot of feedback from drivers has just been they don't like being tracked when they're not on a job, right? And I think all of us can understand that that's a very valid point of view. But then I think Jose also brings a very valid point of view for a lot of us as well as operators that are like, you know, if you were being paid to be on the job, you're going to be also have your tracking on so that we can understand how to best utilize you as a driver when there's ASAPs, switches between airlines, some coming late, some coming early. So to kind of directly address your question, Jose, we're going to soon in the driver app build a setting with operators where that you can permanently just turn on your location, right? But the first way we built the driver app is that your location only turns on when a driver starts a trip. So of course, if they just have the app on, the location is off. And then as soon as they start a trip, the location turns on. Hopefully that's a bit helpful. No, you're good. Yeah. It auto type. So yeah, it's exactly something we're thinking about, Jose, but every operator here is going to have a strong opinion on it. So we have to build it in a way that's customized and tailored to the operator's relationship with their drivers.
I would think, this is Jay. I don't have any drivers right yet, but if I have multiple drivers, I would think that I would want to know where they are in order to provide my clients with on time or effective time pickup. I mean, obviously, I don't want to try to call 2 or 3 guys to find out where they are in relation to where I have a pickup. If I knew where they were, I could, obviously send them a job based on their location.
Correct. And I think one thing, Jay, though, to keep in mind, right, in terms of workflows as a transportation business is it's very like you would want to kind of go through that workflow for like more urgent ASAP same day reservations, right? And that's how I've understood it, where operators, let's say, who don't do ASAPs, who don't do same days, we're scheduling in advance. It's not necessarily on the driver location. It's just scheduling, right? Is Jay going to be available? Is Bryce going to be available? Is John going to be available? It's usually the first layer. And then after that, it would be maybe other things. But really at this point, driver availability being so tough, right? Scheduling in advance is usually based on availability. But then same day, it's only based on like they're already on. You already have drivers available. Now it's about optimization. So that's something that we've learned in the separation between the two workflows.
Yeah, there's definitely a separation between prearranged and or ad hoc.
Yep, exactly. So if you're an operator that does ad hoc, this makes perfect sense. If you're an operator, and not to call out Farhan, but at charter bus rides are probably not ASAPs, right? I'm sure Farhan, those are scheduled in advance.
Absolutely
right?
not.
Yeah. So he might not have that same problem that like airport. I mean, obviously Farhan also does airport rides. So for his airport business, he might get a call right now and it's like, hey, I need a ride at the airport. And then now Farhan's like, wait a sec, like, who do I have? Where? When can I be there? Boom. That's where this comes in.
But also that leads into breakdown as well.
You say that again?
Breakdown. If I have scheduled a driver to pick up a passenger and they break down, I need to know who is,
Yep. Of course. Yep. And then to Jose's point, like Jose has a great point here, right? So like, I agree, Jose, he has a big business in ASAPs, right? So he's getting a lot of business on just people calling, people requesting, right? And then needing to provide the best service,
right,
which Moovs can help him do, would be to then understand the ETA and availability of a driver so that he could better serve those customers to help build his business in that quality of rides. So
well, I realize that most of us are not taxi cab companies to where people are getting a call in and expect a ride within 5 to 10 minutes. But I have a 6-hour window, but then I have had the occasion where I can't. Can I find an affiliate or a second driver to accommodate a reasonable pickup time?
That too, right? And so these things can be solved through the software if we have driver tracking on. Because then imagine if a driver, like if Jose's drivers have their driver tracking on and Jose wants to accept farm-ins, right? Jose then can become a hub for the city that he's in for all the Moovs operators and say, look, I've got 4 drivers at the airport and you can send them jobs through the farm network.
Right. I think Sean wants to jump in there.
Yeah, go for it, Sean.
Yeah, no, I appreciate everything I'm hearing here. And I guess along these lines, right? So with our business model and processes, we're running into some constraints. Like, for example, our drivers may live a certain distance from the garage. And so we're having to do sort of a manual trust but verify in the morning to make sure these guys are moving, right? So if a driver, unfortunately, and it happens, the driver oversleeps or they're not paying attention to a flight revision, right now we've got to step in and cover those jobs, right? And we've had that happen. So I guess there's two scenarios there. So one is, and it sounds like what you're putting in place would address this, is, while they won't be on the way as far as, a workflow, we can see that they're on the way to the garage, right? So I don't have to follow up and wake up at 4 in the morning and text them.
Yeah. And so, Sean, just to add to that, one of the workflows, like I've already heard from at least 10 different operators that this driver tracking will solve, right? Is if the driver has their driver tracking on, then we can enable automated dispatch features. I think, Sean, your call is dropping. Yeah, I think he's in a bad area.
Check the tracking to know that things are rolling. So that,
yeah. Sean, I think we lost you, Sean. But yeah, I think we'll be back. But I think just to address again what he's saying is, once we as operators can have that relationship with our drivers, like, hey, turn your driver tracking on, then we can know as a software provider where the driver is, where the vehicle is, where the pickup is, and then we can indicate, oh, looks like the driver's running late 2 to 3 hours before, and then notify, right, in what way, operators through text messages, operators through emails, whatever that automation needs to be to better serve or better prevent the situations at hand.
Hey, Amir.
Yeah. Hey, Martin.
Hi. So why don't guys do like when they have a trip, like let's keep the location always on. When the trip on end, like by self it turned off. We cannot do that.
That's what it is right now.
Oh, that's what it is. So we don't have to turn it on or turn it off.
No, so like that's why we released this new feature here in the driver app, so that we can tell drivers like location is off, so that then they know when they start the trip, it's going to turn on. When they end the trip, it's gonna turn off. But
okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah, that's what the basis is. But what we want to do eventually for operators who want more automated dispatch features is that if the driver has the location on and they haven't started the trip, then we could tell an operator like, hey, this ride's about to be late because the driver's not moving. But we don't know where we don't know where the driver is, and we don't know if the driver's not moving if they don't start the trip. That's always the challenge for us right now.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right. No, that's good. Great discussion, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for jumping in. Jonathan, I see your hand up. We can take your question before we jump into the feature updates.
All right. On my dashboard, maybe it's something specific to me, but I schedule myself as the driver. And then when I'm making the reservation, it says the driver is unavailable. So what happens is, if I'm unavailable, so what's happening is that I'm not listed as a driver for that particular trip, which means that I can't mark driver on the way so that the customer can get the text message. Is there something in my dashboard that I need to change or update? Why is this happening? I mean, I've had it happen on several trips where they say driver, like I'm unavailable because of conflict. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you follow what I'm saying? I mean, I'm the one who's doing the scheduling, so I should know if it's a conflict, but it's not.
Yep.
So what's going on?
Thanks, Jonathan, for bringing that up. We have two, so I'll discuss here for all operators. We have 2 driver automations for availability that we've built into Moovs. But always remember, Jonathan, you can always assign drivers that have both availability conflicts. So as you can see here, I just assigned a driver who has an availability conflict or a trip conflict. And to highlight those 2 conflicts, what I'll show everybody is in the driver app, we have the ability for drivers to set availability. So this is a really neat feature that we've piloted. So for operators and their drivers to be able to go into the app and be able to update their availability. So right now we've made an update where the default availability is every day, all the time, so that then drivers can go and set their days that they're not available or times they're not available. So in this case, if they're not going to be able to work on Saturday, they can just switch off Saturday and then switch off Sunday. And then now it'll show up as an availability conflict when you schedule them in Moovs. And then the other quick one is trip. So for trip conflicts, right, you could see here, let me update this pickup time to 12. And then I think we'll see a trip conflict, I believe. Let's see. Both are on the same day. So let's see here. I guess the availability conflict overrides it. So let me try here, changing this to Andrew. And then, oh, the time conflict, I didn't update. I change this to the same time, 11 a.m. Cool. Let's see. So you see now this other type, which is super powerful, is if you have two drivers driving at the same time, it'll be a trip conflict, as we call it. Now, again, to repeat, drivers that have conflicts can still be assigned, right? We don't want to prevent you from using the software if you have your own ways of doing it with your drivers, because you have like double scheduling and just so many things going on. We don't want you to prevent you from saying on the way and doing all those things. So that's why we can still give you that, but we still show you like, hey, there's a trip conflict for this driver. Does that help answer your question, Jonathan?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Mark?
Yes, I still have drivers that can't set their availability for Wednesdays.
Let's see. So you should be able to we have this new driver update coming out. The one I'm showing you right now, by the way, is going to be released this week. So once this gets released and there's still issues, Mark, let's set up some time with me and them to make sure that this is working correctly.
It's like Wednesdays are blacked out and they can't do nothing to it.
Okay. Yeah. This new update should hopefully address that. That's going to be out this week for the driver app.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
What do you happen to know what number that is? The update number?
Yep. This one's 1.7.
That's on the mobile app?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And then we'll send an email out once it's out. We're just finishing up the testing. And I think the main feature that's being added is going to be up here, you have the location. So now anywhere you go in the app, and I guess I could show you what it looks like on. So let's see if we have a ride today. Looks like we do. So let me assign myself to the job. So let's say 1:55. And then we're going to do.
Yeah, that's the clock that I was speaking towards.
Yep.
Or to the other day or earlier.
Yep.
It's
so
fine.
Go ahead.
It's fine if I'm using my desktop, but on my mobile device, I'm touching, and I'm still not getting the correct,
Yep.
Whatever.
Yep.
So
now here, I'm on my driver tracking here to the left. I'm here on the driver app on the right, and I click go to trip, right? So here's all the trip details for the driver. And then now watch as I click start trip. And we do have this undo button now. So if you ever click undo, right? So this is great for all of us. So I'll go ahead and click start trip. And then as soon as you start a trip, that's when the power of location tracking begins. So here we'll start to enable our, so I just got a notification for the tracking. So I just said enable location tracking from the iOS app. And now check it out, really neat. See the top right?
Okay.
And then we also added this feature here. You can close a current trip. So that was a huge issue where you were stuck on a trip. So now I can like navigate around, right? Hang out and then go back to the trip and then close the trip. And then look, location is on, right? And then you can see on the map, it shows the driver's location. And then one of my favorite features that I think everybody should be communicating with all of their customers is the customer tracking as well. So the customer tracking is available in the customer link. So it's location, it's, you know, live tracking on the customer link. So I'll show everyone here. So if I open up the customer link, my favorite feature, I think, in Moovs is the fact that it updates the ETA. So then now the customer sees the heading, like the driver is heading to the pickup address, ETA is 114, and then the customer could click view map and then be able to see on the map.
Driver's at.
Yeah, right there.
Yep.
So very close to my drop off. Yep.
Hey, Amir, real quick on the driver scheduling, is there a way we could see when they're available or not available, or is it just when we try to assign them, it comes up and says they're not available?
So great question, Joe. We have a feature that's going to be coming soon. The idea is we're going to add it, I think, somewhere around like dispatch, maybe up here. That's going to be called like the driver scheduler or like the driver availability. So all of the availabilities that they're setting, we're going to put on like a nice visual horizontal graph for you.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. Great question. Cool. So yeah, that's the location. And then I think just to quickly process this, right? The driver arrives at the location. And then as soon as the driver picks up, gets POB at the pickup location to go to the drop off, the driver then can click go to drop off location. Now the driver's on the way to the drop off location, and then they'll arrive. And then based on how operators want to run this workflow, end trip, you can either have the driver end the trip when they get back to the garage. You can have the driver end the trip as soon as the trip is done. But this is built on purpose based on how you want to manage your drivers and your business processes. So in this case, let's say the driver's driving back to the garage, right? An hour goes by, and then we want our drivers after that hour to end the trip. So now the drivers will click end trip, and then here they'll be able to finalize their trip details. So here they can put what time they picked up, what time they dropped off, and then close out notes if they'd like. And then now look, everyone, location is off. You can't see the driver on the map, and the customer won't be able to see the driver on the map either. I can, there you go. It's gone. So, and then the last thing in terms of the driver app that I also really enjoy, that's powerful, is you also now get access to our ride report. So ride report gives you all of that tracking that the driver interacted with, and we interpret starting the trip, garage out, and then ending the trip, garage in. Cool. Any questions before we move on and close out here? All right. So we've gone over a couple of the features already that we'll be releasing. The one that we haven't mentioned is going to be, this is where we've gotten this requested a ton. And so we're excited to have our first version of embedding the Moovs booking tool on an external website. So you'll be able, it'll look like this, and then you'll be able to, we're going to generate the code. You'll be able to choose a style. And then for operators that are not using the Moovs websites or have other areas they want to embed their booking widgets, they'll be able to do that through this embed code.
Mayor Jay.
Yep.
Can you email or message me the phone number to your web development team? I've indicated I want to move my website off of GoDaddy onto your platform.
Yep.
And I haven't heard back from them yet.
Okay. I'll talk to them. I'll let you know. Yep.
Appreciate it.
And then the last one I'll share is we're going to be able to now send the payment link, because we've seen how many people have been, this is one of our most utilized features, is our payment link. So now what you can do is at the bottom, we're going to change this to message link. So you can copy it up here, and then down here, you message it. And then once you click message, we'll curate a message for you with the link to the booking contact to make it that much easier to send the payment link to your customers. All right, right on time. So before we close out, do we have any other questions, comments, or concerns? Awesome.
Looking good.
I just want to thank everyone for taking the time to attend our live webinar and asking questions and engaging. We really appreciate it. We'll be posting the recording on our YouTube Moovs channel, and we're excited to see everybody in 2 weeks. Hope everybody has a wonderful day and a even better